It was supposed to be a simple, pleasant evening, dinner at our favorite restaurant, surrounded by the warmth of friends, laughter, and familiar faces. My husband, Daniel, had just come home from a long business trip, and I wanted to make him feel welcome again, to bridge the quiet distance that had slowly grown between us. I thought the evening would bring us closer, but fate had other plans. When I saw Ryan walk through the restaurant doors, my heart nearly stopped. He wasn't supposed to be there. My secret lover, confident, charming, and impulsive, had always lived on the edge of danger. That was part of what had drawn me to him in the first place. But that night, his usual confidence had turned into something darker. His eyes burned with something between jealousy and rage every time Daniel smiled at me. I could feel his gaze like fire on my skin, but I kept pretending nothing was wrong. Daniel, ever the gentleman, filled the air with stories from his trip, light-hearted, genuine, drawing laughter from everyone around the table. I smiled where I could, though inside I was falling apart. My hands trembled as I raised my glass, silently praying we'd make it through dinner, without any disaster. Across the table, Ryan sat stiff, his jaw clenched, his silence heavy enough to draw glances from others. I avoided his eyes, terrified of what he might do. Then it happened. Daniel reached over, his hand resting gently on mine. "I missed you more than I thought I could," he said, his voice warm and sincere. The moment should have been comforting, but instead, I saw Ryan's expression twist into fury. The next sound was a sharp scrape of wood as he pushed his chair back and rose to his feet. "You don't deserve her." Ryan's voice sliced through the air like a knife. The restaurant went dead silent. Every conversation, every bit of laughter stopped. Before I could even process what was happening, Ryan swung his hand and slapped Daniel across the face. The crack echoed through the room. Gasps spread from table to table. Daniel stumbled back a step, stunned. I froze in place, my heart pounding so loudly I could barely hear. Ryan's chest was heaving, his face red with anger, but behind it was pain, raw and desperate. He wasn't trying to humiliate Daniel. He was trying to hurt me. "Tell him," he shouted at me. "Tell him the truth. Stop pretending." My throat closed. Words wouldn't come out. I could feel every pair of eyes in the restaurant on me, friends, co-workers, neighbors, even the staff, all staring as if watching some tragic scene unfold on stage. Daniel turned slowly to me, his expression unreadable, his voice calm in a way that chilled me to the bone. "What truth?" I opened my mouth, but nothing came. I wanted to explain, to lie, to run, but I couldn't do anything. My silence was an answer on its own. Ryan slammed his fist on the table. "Tell him you've been with me. Tell him what you said about him, about your marriage." The words seemed to echo endlessly. Someone gasped nearby. The world around me spun, blurring into noise and color. Daniel's face went pale. He took a long breath, his lips tightening as realization hit. "Is that true?" he asked, his voice low, controlled, too controlled. Tears welled up, and I shook my head slightly, but still I said nothing. That silence broke whatever hope was left. Daniel looked between me and Ryan with an expression I'd never seen before. Not anger, not heartbreak, but something colder, sharper. He straightened his jacket, pulled out his phone, and made a quick call. Within minutes, 2 uniformed security guards arrived and took hold of Ryan as he shouted my name, trying to reach me. Daniel didn't raise his voice once. He didn't hit back, didn't curse, didn't even look at Ryan again. That terrified me more than any outburst could have. He wasn't acting from emotion anymore. He was in complete control. Once Ryan was dragged out, Daniel turned to the silent room. "Dinner's over," he said simply. Then he walked out, calm and composed, leaving me standing there in humiliation, my world collapsing in front of an audience. I chased him outside, calling his name, begging him to stop, to let me explain, but he didn't turn around. Not once. He got into his car and drove away without a word. That night, he didn't come home. When I woke up the next morning, the house was eerily quiet. On the dining table sat a single folded note in Daniel's handwriting. It read, "You've chosen your path. I hope he was worth it." My hands shook as I read it over and over, the words burning themselves into my mind. I tried to call him, but his number was blocked. I called Ryan, but he didn't answer either. That's when the panic really began to sink in. By evening, I got the news. Ryan had been arrested. Daniel had filed charges for assault and public defamation. There was security footage from the restaurant, witness statements, everything. The man who claimed to love me enough to fight for me had destroyed himself in one reckless moment. Days later, divorce papers arrived. Daniel had already moved his belongings out, quietly and efficiently. He didn't look back once. The people we'd known for years whispered behind my back. The story had spread, the slap, the affair, the public humiliation. In one night, everything I'd built came crashing down. Daniel, the man who had once loved me with steady devotion, was gone. Ryan, the man I thought I couldn't resist, had vanished into his own ruin. I was left standing in the wreckage, trying to make sense of how one moment of passion, one loss of control, had destroyed everything. I used to believe I could balance both worlds, safety and desire, loyalty and thrill. But that night proved how fragile control really is. One slap, one truth revealed, and everything I thought I owned, love, respect, security, turned to dust.